Young-suk, a former Marine captain, finds himself in the midst of a deadly and chaotic zombie outbreak that has engulfed South Korea. As the infection spreads rapidly across the country, he is tasked with escorting his elder sister, her husband Shulman, and their young son Dongwon to a ship that promises to take them to safety. While speeding through the devastated streets, the family comes across another group of survivors, who beg for their help. The family pleads desperately, but Young-suk is forced to make a heart-wrenching decision. He prioritizes the safety of his own family, driving past the group, knowing that he may have condemned them to a grisly fate. Once they reach the ship and board, the family is given a brief moment of relief. However, Young-suk soon discovers that instead of taking them to a nearby haven, the ship is en route to Hong Kong. As he tries to come to terms with this sudden shift, the outbreak strikes again, this time, on board the very ship they hoped would provide sanctuary. The infection spreads like wildfire, with zombies tearing through the confined spaces, attacking passengers and crew alike. In the ensuing chaos, Young-suk can do little but watch in horror as both his sister and his nephew are bitten and fall to the zombies. Despite his efforts, they are lost to the apocalypse. Devastated and helpless, Young-suk and Shulman manage to escape the carnage, barely clinging to their lives as the ship falls into ruin. 4 years have passed since the initial outbreak, and the world has been reshaped by the relentless spread of the zombie plague. Cities are abandoned, nations have fallen, and what remains of humanity is scattered across small enclaves, fighting to survive. Young-suk and Shulman, still haunted by the trauma of losing their family, now live in the ruins of Hong Kong. Life has become a daily struggle for survival, with food and resources scarce. The once proud Marine captain has been reduced to a shell of his former self, consumed by guilt and regret. It is during this time that an opportunity presents itself. Young-suk and Shulman are approached by a group of mercenaries who offer them a dangerous but potentially lucrative deal. They are tasked with returning to the zombie-infested Korean peninsula to retrieve a truck loaded with millions of dollars. The money is hidden in the ruins, and if they succeed in bringing it back, they are promised half of the fortune. The proposition is risky and almost certainly deadly, but the allure of a new life free from the hardships of post-apocalyptic living is hard to resist. However, Young-suk hesitates. The thought of returning to the land where he lost everything stirs up painful memories. But Shulman, eager for a fresh start and frustrated by Young-suk's reluctance, pushes him to agree. Unable to ignore the growing tension between them, Young-suk finally consents to the mission. The two are joined by a pair of other Koreans, and the small group sets off on their perilous journey to the Korean peninsula. As their boat approaches the shores, the sight of their homeland, once bustling with life and now eerily desolate, sends shivers down their spines. The peninsula is now nothing more than a wasteland, overrun by the undead, its cities reduced to silent ruins. The team begins their search for the truck, cautiously navigating through the zombie-infested streets. Despite the ever-present threat, they manage to locate the truck, which is still intact and filled with the promised money. For a brief moment, hope rises within them. But as is often the case in their world, danger is never far behind. As they attempt to make their escape with the truck, they are suddenly ambushed by Unit 631, a rogue militia group that has taken control of parts of the peninsula. The group, led by the ruthless Sergeant Huang, has turned the apocalypse into a playground for their own twisted enjoyment. They ambush Young-suk's team with brutal efficiency, killing the female Korean member and seizing control of the truck. In the chaos, Young-suk is thrown from the vehicle while Shulman manages to hide inside. Huang and his men capture the truck, and as zombies close in on Young-suk, it seems his time is up. But just as all hope appears lost, he is saved by two young sisters, June and Eugene, who arrive in a car and manage to outmaneuver the zombies in a high-speed chase through the wrecked city. The sisters take Young-suk to their hideout, where he meets their family. Their grandfather, Elder Kim, and their mother, Min Young, have managed to survive in the peninsula by staying off the radar of Unit 631 and avoiding large zombie hordes. As Young-suk interacts with them, he is struck by a painful revelation. Min Young is the same woman he had driven past 4 years ago, choosing to abandon her family in his desperate bid to save his own. The guilt he had buried deep inside him resurfaces, adding another layer of emotional weight to his already burdened soul. Meanwhile, Shulman is discovered by Unit 631 inside the truck. Despite his desperate pleas for freedom, he is captured and thrown into the militia's gruesome gladiator-style games. In these savage competitions, prisoners are forced to fight off hordes of zombies while Unit 631 soldiers cheer from the sidelines. Chulman's situation grows increasingly dire as he is thrust into the arena, fighting for his life against an unending stream of the undead. Elsewhere, Unit 631's Private Kim and Captain Seo uncover the bags of cash hidden in the truck. Realizing the immense value of the money, they secretly plot to steal it for themselves, intending to escape and leave their comrades behind to deal with the chaos. Back at the hideout, Min Young learns of a ship docked at the Incheon port, prepared to extract survivors. With time running out and their options limited, she devises a plan to steal back the truck from Unit 631 and escape the peninsula with her daughters, Young-suk and Elder Kim. Together, Min Young and Young-suk infiltrate the malicious compound, stealthily navigating through the heavily guarded base. As the sisters and Elder Kim wait anxiously in a car outside, Young-suk discovers Chulman is still alive, though barely clinging to life after being forced to fight zombies. Determined to save his friend, Young-suk fights through waves of undead in Unit 631 soldiers, displaying a tenacity fueled by guilt and a desire for redemption. However, just as he reaches Chulman, Sergeant Huang appears and ruthlessly guns him down. The loss of Chulman devastates Young-suk, but there is no time to mourn as Min Young rushes to his aid, driving the truck through the compound and helping him escape. The two are reunited with the sisters, and together they flee the compound in a desperate, high-speed chase. Unit 631 soldiers and zombies alike pursue them, but the group manages to outmaneuver their attackers. The chase ultimately ends with Sergeant Huang and his driver meeting their demise, but the group's challenges are far from over. As they approach the port, Captain Seo, now injured but still driven by greed, rams his car into Jun's vehicle and takes her hostage. In the ensuing struggle, Elder Kim is shot while protecting Eugene, and Min Young is gravely wounded. Despite Young-suk's best efforts to stop Seo, the captain manages to board the ship with the truck. However, Seo's victory is short-lived. As the ship's gates begin to close, trapping the group on the peninsula, Seo is ambushed and killed by zombies that have overrun the vessel. In his dying moments, Seo reverses the truck, preventing the gate from closing fully and allowing the undead to flood the ship, killing everyone on board. In the midst of the chaos, Young-suk, Min Young, and the two sisters find themselves at a critical juncture. As the zombies close in and their options dwindle, they spot a United Nations military transport helicopter approaching the port. This is their last chance for survival. Min Young, knowing she may not make it, implores Young-suk to fulfill a promise he made earlier, to protect her daughters at all costs. Young-suk, moved by her sacrifice and the burden of his past failures, agrees. As Min Young provides cover fire, Young-suk rushes the girls to the helicopter, ensuring their safety just as Min Young prepares to make her final stand. Surrounded by zombies and with no way out, she contemplates ending her own life to avoid a horrific fate. But Young-suk, refusing to abandon her as he did before, fights through the horde to save her. In a moment of redemption, he pulls her from the wreckage, and together, they board the helicopter with the sisters, escaping the peninsula once and for all. As the helicopter flies away from the ruins of Korea, the four survivors, Young-suk, Min Young, Jun, and Eugene, are left to confront the uncertain future that lies ahead. Though they have escaped the horrors of the peninsula, they carry with them the scars of the past, forever changed by the apocalypse. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.